And welcome to another episode of The Focal Thought. My guest today is Shilpa Kulshrestha. How are you, Shilpa?
I'm very well, Croydon, and very excited to be on your show.
That's awesome. Good to hear. Thanks for coming on the show. And Shilpa, you are a game-changing career coach. You've helped hundreds of mid-career professionals step into what you call powerfully euphoric careers. And that's something I want to ask you about. Too often we have people who are very confused. They may be misguided. They don't have a North Star that they can point towards. And sometimes this happens, in midlife because you've gone through years of, growing up, of education, of meeting people, of settling down, maybe getting married, having children. You've established in your career. And then halfway through, you decide, maybe this is not something that, is meant for me, or, maybe you're meant to do other things or better things. But then people might not have sort of like a guiding light in that instance. And confusion sets in, right? In terms of finances to start your new project, or maybe just to distill what it is that you want to do. You might have some inkling, maybe a passion that you're good at. But a lot of times with the people I've met, I do see confusion. Is that the same experience with you?
Absolutely, Croydon. You are spot on. Look, I believe life gives us two chances. One in the beginning, when we finish our degree and we get into our first job, most of the time it is not by a choice. Most of the time it is based on because we want to prove ourselves to the society, we want to prove to the parents. And a lot of us get into careers that we have not even thought about, we have no clue about. And then we live it for years. We live it for years, we get everything, we get money, we get designation, we have a family. And then as we reach that stage where we've done everything, then we start thinking about, is that all?
Hmm.
Could I have done something different? Or they start getting ideas about what else can they either add or replace their career with. Now, the problem is most of us keep ignoring those signs and we continue through mid-age and all the way up to the retirement. But those thoughts that we have in mid-career after we have spent about 10, 15 years in our career, I believe that's the right time to do a reevaluation of your life, of your what they call passion. It's a big word, of your purpose, and see, are you in the right place? And if you are in the right place, is that all? Or how can you increase the speed so that it is fun now? It has been a reasonable journey, but how can I make it more fun now? Because I can. And I have so much more potential. Or can I do something totally different, challenge myself, and get all the juices while doing it? So that's what happens. All these thoughts, if they are not catered to, they lead to the confusion that you are talking about. And it is at that point, the onus, I believe, is on us to navigate through that chaos of thoughts and figure out figure out clarity and bring certainty in our life, because that's literally our second chance.
Correct. Yeah. And if you don't clarify the confusion, that can also lead to depression, right? So it's important.
Absolutely.
What is
Yeah.
one of the first things you might do if someone comes to you and says, hey, Shilpa, I'm in this stage of my life. I kind of have an idea of what my passion may be, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm in an existing career field that I'm very good at. I've done well. I've got awards. The business is, successful because of it, but still, even though I'm good at it, it's not me, right? It's not aligned with my soul or my passion, etc. So what are one of the first steps you might take with, someone like that in that situation?
The first step that I take is to bring their focus from outward, from the worldly way of things, from those awards and recognitions that they had, to inwards. Most of the time, that confusion starts when we start losing that alignment with ourselves, within ourselves. So I bring their focus inward, and to do that deep dive where they can figure out what what is it that they have done, what are the amazing things, what are the things that there's a gap on, what is it that they really want, how have they been living their life with, what is it that they can do more of, what is it that they would want to do less of. and what else to embrace in their life. So I help them go through this deep process within ourselves without even worrying about passion. That comes later when we are in alignment. But the first step is to bring them in complete, I mean, there's no better word than alignment, complete alignment with themselves, where they know what is it that they want. So that process of cleansing is required before we sit down and put all the options on the table and we figure out what is it that I want to do in our life. So deep dive, I think, is very important, which a lot of people miss. And there's no shortcut to passion without doing that.
Got it. You're doing sort of like an inventory checklist of, what people want, and you're also establishing, maybe some pros and cons depending on, what they're thinking of. And, what they want, how do they come to that? And, what they want, are you looking for something that's like a product or service, or is it sort of like a vision, or is it a mission? What is the want over there?
The want can take any shape or form depending upon the person. It actually depends upon what the person is looking for. But the way it starts is putting all the options on the table, whatever has ever crossed their mind since childhood, put it all on the table, and taking them through a logical process as well as an emotional process where they start, they keep discarding the options and they come up with the one which appeals to them the most. And once they've got that option, then it is about bringing a practicality into it. Is that something that you that you like to do just for yourself or just for your family? Or is that something that you would like to do on a bigger scale? Can you see yourself doing it for the next 10 years? Now, you don't have to do it for the next 10 years, but when we are building a life of passion and purpose, it is important for us to see that, this is what I want to do in the long run. And then comes the aspect of asking the difficult question, will people pay me for this? And if yes, then it is about sitting down and starting it very small. In fact, I call it dating with your passion, where you have those experimentation with the passion, where you realize where you actually are in a position to say, do I like it? Or it was just a good thought and not something that I would want to do on a bigger scale. So do that little bit of dating. And if it feels right, then, bringing in, go for a coach, go for, some advice where you can build in the right revenue models as you get started on this journey.
Got it. So when they feel aligned, the feeling you're looking for, is it happiness or is it peace? Or what's that feeling that you've seen with other people?
I would say, if they feel exuberant, then that's it. If it drains their energy, definitely that's not. So if it is, they feel that exuberance, keep that on the table. If it is draining their energy, or if it makes them think too much and they're not enjoying the process, that goes off the table. So that's the process, continue what excites them more and more and all. That's the initial feeling that we start with. And then the rest.
And I like how you said you have to focus, you have to distill it down, and also you have to be practical about it, right? Because you can say, I like the feeling of, being on vacation, but vacation is not practical in the real world, right? Vacation is just a timeout.
Yeah. We human beings, we might think, like, I meet so many people, Gordon, they say that I want to travel around the world. Well, you can travel around the world. It's fine, but do you want to do that all the time? If you're not making money with it, would you like to do that? And if let's say you don't have any money worries also, you don't have to worry about money. There are $10 million in your account. Would you like to travel all the time? If yes, then think about what aspect of it can you use to make money, right? But those instances will be very few when you want to make money out of travel. Most of the people cling on to this good idea of, as you said, holiday, traveling around the world, doing charity. So people say, I want to just sit and I want to make a difference to this world. I want to do charity. I want to make a difference to the education world. I mean, these are big words which are thrown, or simply our pastimes where people get caught up that this is what I love to do. But you start with the initial idea, and then you definitely have to bring in the practicality element. Because if your passion is not making money, then it will collapse after a while and you will burn your hands badly.
Got it. Okay. And I like how you said start small because then you get to sort of test the idea out, right? For the practicality. Because like you're saying, you might have an intention of, I like to do this, but then when you actually do it, then, you're probably thinking, I actually don't like this, right? I like the end result, but I don't like the logistics of it, or, there's that gap, right?
Yes, and it's exactly like, if we think about it, like dating a man or a woman, I mean, dating somebody that you would like to see, you can't understand how it will feel. You have not gone through the feeling unless you do it with that person, you know. So it is about experimenting. And I'll give you my example. I was really, really passionate about, I should make a difference to this world. So that's where my passion started. And then I thought, okay, I want to make this difference to the world, but whom can I impact? And then I thought the best way would be to impact teenagers, because I had two wonderful children and people always complimented me that I'm a very good parent. My girls have grown up well. And I heard it all along. So I thought, if I've done such a great job with my kids, let me go and impact the other teenagers. I hear stories about those dramas and all, teenage dramas and all at home. Well, one day I did this workshop I gathered all the children of my friends and my neighbors and few of people that I knew, acquaintances, and I did a 1 day workshop. And by the end of the workshop, by the end of the day, I was so exhausted. I realized that I don't want to do it anymore. It was just a nice idea. So I dated with it. I realized not for me. Then the next thing that came up was, okay, I'm a woman. Let me I relate with women so much. Let me go and impact women. Let me help them with their life, with those emotional challenges that they have amidst all this expectation of the society and their family and all that. I did that. And then I realized that the way I connect with women, the same way I connected with men. So somewhere I was cutting myself short, and also just focusing on the life experiences. I realized every time the conversation moved towards achievement, them achieving something in life. And that pushed me to my sweet spot, which is career coaching, which is dealing with the people who have 15, 20 years of experience, and they are in their mid-career, whether men or women, and helping them create their next big thing, helping them meet their North Star. So I had to date a lot of things before I actually narrowed down to something which was in alignment with who I was. Everybody has to go through that process.
Yeah, they say you have to kiss a lot of frogs, and in your case, you had to go through teenagers to get to the middle-aged adults, right?
Yes. And I would say it is because your confidence slowly gets developed. I didn't have the confidence that I can do because, in my last company, I was literally thrown out. So I didn't have the confidence that I can do something for those people. So all that I could thought was, what is easy for me? Easy is teenagers, because it is, something that I have done. I was cutting myself short. And then when I finally realized that the pain that I went through in my career, because I understand that, because I understand what it takes to get outstanding ratings, because I had it one after the other, because I understand what it takes to be handpicked, because I was handpicked a number of times among the elite performers in my company to do some amazing things. And also having gone through the pain of mediocrity, being caught up in the average game, and what the feeling of numbness that it led me to, the feeling of not having achieved something, I realized that I've done both the things, the pain and the pleasure of doing bad and good in the corporate world. And let me bring that all together, stitch it all together, and create a phenomenal experience for the people who are in the jobs, who are in the corporate, and help them get the best out of, help them fall back in love with their careers.
Got it. And once again, this is not, everyone should quit their jobs and become an entrepreneur. This is also in your career, right? You can still be, in the employed position and still, utilize this concept, maybe move, vertically or horizontally within your industry. And again, focus and distill. And, if I can ask now, say the third step. So the first step is, having that grand vision. So for your case, it was you wanted to make a difference. And then the second step is focusing and distilling it down. So then you decided, okay, I want to help people, middle-age levels with their career. Now, what's the third step once you've sort of finalized your position?
The third step is to start with some pro bonos, I would say. And this is where you are testing, again, testing. So you, while you're testing, you're creating some incredible results. So in the first part with the teenagers, I didn't even get to the stage of doing something for the people. Second stage, I did get to it, but then I navigated into a third area, which was corporate professionals. Now, when I started with this, then it is for me to start with some pro bono clients, some free clients, doing some initially creating my testimonials. That is really important, because once I have rock solid testimonials, once I have created some amazing results, I will be able to attract more clients and create similar results for them. So that's the third step. And then I know you didn't ask me for the fourth step, but it is really important. It is to move from the non-paid model into the paid model, where you start making money. You actually encash those testimonials that you have created and start charging people. And once you have done one or two at certain level of costing, then you take it up, take your prices up, because by this time you've got the confidence, you've created the results, you've got some amazing testimonials, public testimonials, and now people will come and pay for it. And once you reach that stage and you start charging more, this is a time when you get a business coach for you, because this coach can do wonders. I regret, because I spent, I think, throughout 2019, I was creating the testimonials, I was creating results, but my revenue was so less because I didn't have a business coach with me. And the moment the person came on board, everything shifted. My income multiplied like anything, my results multiplied, I was able to handle more people. So that's the time to get the proper models, revenue models in place.
No, that's really important because, it's the adage akin to having a mentor, right? A mentor will save you years of grief by sharing their experience of the road that they've already traveled to, right? And
Yes,
business
absolutely.
coach is important because especially if you're in, industries like art, where you're so focused on the art itself and your mindset is 180 degrees from what a business mindset should be. The business coach already has that mindset and the process to impart on you, right? And put you through, because you might not know these things and then it'll take time to learn, etc.
So this is true, as you said, Croydon, for the people in business. They might be so busy creating that art that they may have no idea about how they can sell, to whom they can sell, and what is their art worth for. Similarly, for the people who are in the corporate, people might be so busy doing their day-to-day duties and responsibilities that they may not know what is possible for them. They may not know what is their real worth. They may not know how much more money can they attract, how quickly they can get to the next level. And that's where the career coach comes into being. So in whatever case, a coach by your side can make you an Olympian.
Got it. No, that's very true because again, the adage of the mentor, right? They'll save you years of heartache and they'll impart their experience. And I like what you said about seeing the impossible because you might not know what's out there. You might not even imagine what's out there. But, these people who've been through, the trenches before, they've seen it, they've mastered it, and they impart that knowledge onto you.
I wouldn't be here, Croydon, in probably 10 years more to reach the number of clients that I have, the money that I make. And I'm really grateful that I met in my journey. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Got it. Okay, so we've got step number 1, which is the vision. Step number 2, which is get your position clear and focused. Step number 3, let's do pro bono, get our testimonials, our experience. Step number 4, let's switch to a paid model. And then what's step number 5?
And the step number 5 is to start creating the systems and the processes This is a time when you have you start getting all the apps, integrating them all, building up your email list. And this is the time when you start scaling it up. It is easy to get lost in step number 4 because you're already making money, and probably the money that you are making, it's multiple times of what you were making, at in your corporate, in your job, or when you started. So it is easy to get lost and make that as your rhythm. But the next step, which a lot of people fail to get to, is to scale it up. Where you actually become an entrepreneur in the true sense, when you have the systems and the processes and the people and the team working for you, and you have got everything that is outstanding in their, everyone who is outstanding in their field in your team as your partner.
Got it. And I imagine scaling up also goes hand in hand with maintaining what you've scaled up, right? Because that also is very important to maintain the success that you've built up to, because that also requires skill sets and perseverance, etc.
Absolutely. And you're very right. And I'm so glad that you've got the right points, because this is a place where people can get into the money game, where they want to make money, but somewhere quality is compromised because now they've got other people on the team. So it's a fine balance between maintaining the quality, raising up the quantity and the scale of operations, and also starting to delegate it to the right people who can take your legacy forward.
Got it. And I should mention that this is not only for people who want to make money as the end result or have it as a byproduct, because there are some people who want to find out their passion, work in their passion, and don't want anything to have to do with money. They might just want to help or, produce art or something, but they don't want that money factor associated with it, which is okay too, right? As long as you find your passion, live it, work it, and announce it to the world, right? Broadcast it and have the world experience what your passion is.
Yeah, I am a little bit against it, Croydon, because and probably I'm biased because I'm all about creating businesses of passion. Why I'm biased, I'll tell you. I see people volunteering when they start feeling the juices in something. They start volunteering at different places. They are at all the places at all the time. They want to be seen. They want to be up on the stage. They want to speak, but somewhere inside, in their home, then they're not making anything out of it. So somewhere the impact gets hollowed because you're doing it. You have to do something else to get the revenue coming in from some other channel. If you can marry your passion with money, then it brings the prosperity, then it brings the fulfillment, and it gives you those best sleeps in the night and the best sparks during the day. So I'm somebody who's a strong believer that if you find a passion, why don't make it as your way of life and give it your 100%, because that is the place where you are going to excel.
Yeah. And I guess, that's okay because we have, different opinions and views on that. Because for me, there are some things I'm doing that involve money. And there's also some things that I'm doing that doesn't involve money, because again, the projects that I'm doing involve money are able to cater, and provide as the foundation for the other projects that don't involve money. And sometimes I just won't involve money into those projects because, money brings a whole different spectrum, politics, etc., control systems. And there's some art that I do that I don't even publicize it out there. I just do it for me, for my own sort of, personal actualization. And I don't want to share it because that's sort of my own personal secret. And that actually empowers me in a certain way, right? But I see what you're saying, because if you're volunteering and you don't have a financial background, then you're not going to be able to pay the bills and, put food on the table. I definitely see that side.
Yeah. Very interesting that you mentioned that, Croydon. Sorry, I'll take a minute to talk about it. When
Sure.
you said there are certain things which are personal for me, which is probably something that I want to sit and do alone, or I want to develop myself in that. I can relate to that part because, being an introvert, there are certain things which are still a challenge for me, and I still fight it. And I do those things in my free time. It has got nothing to do with business. It doesn't get me money, but I still love doing it. And I would do it. Like it doesn't fit into the money equation. It is all in the same direction, though it is towards the passion that I'm living. But those are the little corners that I have just for myself to develop me.
Correct. Yeah. No, no, that makes sense. And just finally, I wanted to ask you, you've got a really nice quote on your Facebook, and you say that no one has your mind, your body, your vision, your experience, and your voice. So write and draw, build and connect, dance and sing, fall and leap. You are the hero of your blockbuster. And I really like that because it really reinforces that people are unique, even though we all sort of, might come from the same origins, but we are different, just as the atoms may be different, and we have our sort of, unique talents and skill sets. So using that, what are your thoughts on some people who are sort of second generation, passion seekers? They found, what they like to do, but that's coming from a previous source. So an example would be if we look at, sports, people like The Rock, who his father was a wrestler, and then The Rock became a wrestler and, took it to a whole new level. Or if we see Cristiano Ronaldo, who's training his son to be a soccer player, or even musicians, we see a lot of famous musicians whose parents were musicians, right?
Yeah.
And they're very good at it. They've taken it to the next level. Do you find sometimes that maybe if they didn't do that, that they have not found their actual passion, or are they just sort of an extension of what their parents were trying to do? Any thoughts on that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, our environment does rub on us. So let's say if Will Smith is working with his son to get him into movies. Let's say he's working on that. Uh, because his son has seen that right from right from whenever he was ready to understand the word, he is better placed in that word. However, whether he wants to make that as his career, that as his passion, whether he takes it as that as his passion, his own passion, it is up to him. So as I said, everybody is unique and everybody comes with a very different composition. So if I see the biggest evidence of it in my own house. So I've got two daughters. The younger one, she, because me and my husband, both of us are game changer coaches and we do this phenomenal work, she's naturally progressed into it. She loves coaching people. She's coaching people who are 3 times her age. She writes, she's a ferocious writer, and she loves to speak. She's got that level of depth, which I would love to see. But still, what we have told is, you cannot always work with papa mama. You'll have to go and explore further things. That's with one daughter. The other daughter, she's totally against the coaching world. So my elder one, she's like, no, I don't want to do this. I want to do something very different. I have no idea what it is, but I know this is not what I want to do, right? So every person is unique and not against any of them. The elder one, she's also a very good writer. She has got the same depth of thoughts in a different area. She knows a number of languages. So every person is unique. Environment does feed into it, but the environment can feed to the extent I want to do this or I don't want to do this, or somewhere you take a middle path that this is easy. I've seen this all my life. Let me do that. But when you reach a stage where you feel this is not what I want to do, I think again, their life gives a second chance, because sometimes we have not given it based on the environment and the push that we got in the childhood.
Correct. No, I'm glad there's a second chance because too often, we might go through life unconscious and then till it's very late. And then, before your deathbed, you have your regrets, right? I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. But here, there's the second chance for, mid-aged adults. And then also a second chance for these adults to maybe instigate into their kids, right? Like a sense of finding your passion early on. So you don't have to necessarily wait till you get to that, middle-aged bracket and then try to find out, what is your passion. If you can find it earlier, then you spend more time with it. You get to deep dive into it more, and who knows where that'll lead you to.
Absolutely. The earlier they can do it, the better. And this for us as parents, as the nurturers of our children, to give them that space where they are not tied to anything. They're not tied to the history. They're not tied to who we are, but they explore who they would want to be. What gives them happiness?
Got it. And sometimes I wonder, what if The Rock didn't do wrestling and maybe became a chef or something? You never know which possibility can end up taking you where?
Yes, yes. The road not taken is the road not taken. And I want my daughter to get lost in the lanes. I want her to find different turning points and then choose and, then figure out a place where she's really happy. As a parent, I would want both of them to be happy. Yeah, it is, again, the onus is on them. The earlier they find it, the happier they'll be with their life.
Correct. And like you said, only they can sort of take that flame and run with it, right? Make something of it. We can force them only so much, but at the end of them, it's up to each individual to do what they want with the potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing. Thanks so much for coming again on the show and sharing your thoughts of, what you do. And I'm glad there's a coach like you out there doing these things because, it is very important. And if people want to get a hold of you and your work, where's the best place for them to reach you?
The best place to reach me would be LinkedIn or Facebook. LinkedIn I call as my most authentic home because since I deal with people in the corporate, it is a professional playground. We've got real people, real designations, real photographs, real testimonials. So, that's the best place to get in touch. But thank you so much, Croydon. I've really enjoyed this conversation. It was not like the other shows where we have a set of questions, but this was more of, to and fro's, and I personally enjoyed it. I hope our audiences did as well.
I'm sure they will. And once again, thank you for coming on the show, and I wish you well.
Thank you.